Hello and welcome to Dental Studies Simplified. I am Dr. Ankita Kotecha, and in today's video we will discuss gingiva, the normal anatomy of gingiva. Based on the various queries that I received in the past few days, people have queries that is mainly the confusion of the various terminologies used to address the single entity or the same entity, which was all about gingiva. So I thought of clubbing all those queries and put it in front of you, provide you in form of the topic gingiva. So let's begin. But before beginning with gingiva, let us discuss what is oral mucosa. So all the tissues present inside the oral cavity is oral mucosa. Now mainly they are of three types: masticatory, lining and specialized. Okay, masticatory, lining and specialized. Under specialized we have the only tissue, that is dorsum of tongue, which has all those taste buds. Clear? So under specialized mucosa we have dorsum of the tongue, which has all those taste buds. Under masticatory we have our topic gingiva and hard palate. Remember, only hard palate. Now rest all of the tissues or mucosa falls under lining mucosa, all the remaining. Okay, so our topic here, gingiva, is located. Gingiva is a masticatory mucosa which covers the alveolar processes of the jaws and surrounds the neck of the teeth. Okay, so again this gingiva is further divided anatomically. So the anatomy of gingiva has mainly three portions: free gingiva, attached gingiva and interdental gingiva. Apart from these three anatomical structures or portions, there is fourth entity, which is a sulcus, which is not any anatomical portion but a V-shaped crevice or space created by one of these anatomical portions of gingiva. Okay, so we'll begin with free and continue to follow and discuss all the four terms: free gingiva, attached gingiva, interdental gingiva and sulcus. These four things will be discussed in today's video. Please be very careful. We will also discuss the various alternative names or terminologies used for the same entity. To begin with, first is free gingiva. Free gingiva is this green colored thing, free gingiva. It's a terminal edge or border of the gingiva. This is the only portion of gingiva which is in the collar-like fashion. The very common and popular terminology, especially amongst the BDS students, collar-like fashion. Gingiva covers the alveolar processes of the jaws and surrounds the neck of the teeth in a collar-like fashion. Please don't complete the definition of gingiva like this, because the only portion of gingiva which is in a collar-like fashion is free gingiva. So that collar-like fashion terminology does not apply to the entire gingiva, because gingiva is made up of these three things. Okay, and the only thing which is in a collar-like fashion is free gingiva. So when we discuss free gingiva, this terminology should be mentioned, that free gingiva is a terminal edge or border of the marginal gingiva, border of the gingiva in a collar-like fashion. Okay, coming to the various alternative names or terminology, let me clarify and clear this confusion. Free gingiva is also known as marginal gingiva, obviously because it forms the margin of the gingiva. Also known as unattached. Obviously the name itself describes the feature of this gingiva. It is free. Free from what? Free from the tooth surface. It is not attached to the tooth surface. It is free from the tooth surface. It is unattached from the tooth surface. Okay, So that is why it is called free or unattached gingiva. Marginal because it forms the margin, the terminal edge or border. Okay, I hope these three names of the same entity, same anatomical portion is now clear. There was this one question, what is the difference between free and unattached gingiva, marginal and free gingiva? I hope the query is now resolved. Okay, let's discuss the features of this free gingiva. For now we will call it free gingiva. Clear? This free gingiva, this green colored portion is free gingiva, which is demarcated from attached gingiva by this blue line, which is a shallow depression called free gingival groove. I am not abbreviating it as FGG, otherwise it will create another confusion, that is the grafting procedure, free gingival graft. FGG is a common abbreviation for free gingival graft. So don't use it here. Use the word entire terminology free gingival groove. Okay. So free gingiva is demarcated from attached gingiva. Rather I will say unattached gingiva is demarcated from attached gingiva. Gives a better differentiation of the two types of gingiva, right? That's why. By a shallow depression called free gingival groove. So from free gingival margin FGM up to free gingival groove, this distance, this is called width of free gingiva, okay, or unattached gingiva. Again let me clarify, I am not talking about width of attached gingiva, that is another entity. A separate video is available on assessment or measurement of width of attached gingiva, identification of mucogingival junction. The links are available in the description box below. Okay, for now we are discussing width of unattached gingiva, the width of free gingiva. This width is usually up to 1 mm. Okay. Another thing, this free gingiva forms this green line. Watch here in the sulcus. This free gingiva provides or contributes to the soft tissue wall of that shallow crevice or space, V-shaped space, which is the sulcus. The soft tissue wall, this V, out of this diagonal line of the V is contributed by the soft tissue free gingiva, and this diagonal line of V is contributed by tooth surface, that is hard tissue. Okay, so one of the walls of this V-shaped crevice is contributed by free gingiva. Okay, and one more point about free gingiva is these scalloping. If you notice this scalloping, the most apical portions, the most apical portion of these scalloping or accentuations is called gingival zenith. Okay, that's zenith. A very important parameter to be kept in mind while treating any aesthetic cases. Okay, especially aesthetic crown lengthening. Clear? So this is all about free gingiva. Once again I repeat, free gingiva is also known as marginal gingiva and unattached gingiva. Demarcated by free gingival groove, width of usually 1 mm, contributes to the soft tissue wall of the gingival sulcus, and the most apical portions of free gingiva are called gingival zenith. Clear till now? Now moving on to attached gingiva. Again, attached gingiva is also known as functional gingiva or mucosa. Okay, attached gingiva is firmly bound to the underlying tissues, that is periosteum. Clear? This attached gingiva is firmly bound. It is attached, that is why the name attached gingiva. Now this attached gingiva is further demarcated from alveolar, loose and soft alveolar mucosa by mucogingival junction, which is a linear fashion demarcation, which is a line called mucogingival junction, a roughly linear fashion. Okay, mucogingival junction. A separate video on mucogingival junction is available, link in the description box below. So attached gingiva is demarcated from alveolar mucosa by mucogingival junction. No confusions. Free gingiva is demarcated from attached gingiva by free gingival groove. Attached gingiva is demarcated from alveolar mucosa by mucogingival junction. So this free gingival groove up to mucogingival junction is called width of attached gingiva. Okay. Now apart from these two widths, again there is one more very common confusion, width of keratinized gingiva. Remember, free gingiva or attached gingiva, both are keratinized. So keratinized gingiva is the sum amount of the width of free gingiva plus width of attached gingiva. This is already discussed in my video on assessment or measurement of width of attached gingiva. This query is already solved there, but still I am repeating it here. Do not confuse the width of attached gingiva with the width of keratinized gingiva, because width of keratinized gingiva also includes free gingiva which is not attached. Okay, it is unattached. So remember, free gingiva width, attached gingiva width, the combination of these two is width of keratinized gingiva. Clear till now? Now the width of this attached gingiva is highly variable. It is not same on all the teeth. It is highest in the incisors, lowest in the posteriors, that is premolars. Okay, and this attached gingiva is stippled. These dots, orange peel appearance, because it is stippled. These stipplings are representative of that firmly bound to the underlying structures. Okay, coming to the interdental gingiva. Interdental gingiva, we have already discussed lost interdental gingiva, that is loss of interdental gingiva, but here we will be discussing a normal interdental gingiva, also known as interdental papilla. Okay, sometimes interproximal tissue also. Clear? These are the various terminologies for interdental gingiva. This interdental gingiva is formed by the ideal contact of the two adjacent teeth. Only if there is a contact, the ideal contact point in the anteriors and the contact surface between the posteriors. Okay, contact point and contact area. Clear? These are the two terminologies. Point in the anteriors, because they contact each other via only single point, and whereas in the posteriors they meet in a larger area, that is by contact area. So the interdental gingiva here in the anterior is this triangular shape. Now this triangular shape, as you can appreciate, the margins of this triangle and the apex is contributed by free gingiva. As you can see, this green border which is representing free gingival margin forms the margins or the outlines of the triangle, whereas the innermost portion of this triangle is contributed by attached gingiva. Okay, so interdental gingiva is a mix of both free gingiva and the core is attached gingiva. So there is this one query whether interdental gingiva is stippled or not. See, stippling is because of this firmly bound to the underlying structures. Now tell me whether free gingiva is bound or not. No. That means there will be no stippling in free gingiva. Tell me attached gingiva is stippled or not. Yes, because it is firmly bound to the underlying structures. Now the question, this is the question, this is how the question arises in the exam. Now tell me whether the interdental gingiva is stippled or not. So there this confusion arises. So the answer is the core. The center of this triangular interdental papilla is stippled because that is contributed by attached gingiva, whereas the margins, these margins of the triangle are unattached. It is contributed by free gingiva, that is why they are not stippled. So the answer to the question whether interdental gingiva is stippled or not, the answer is the core. The center of the interdental gingiva is stippled, whereas the margins or the borders of this triangular shaped interdental gingiva is not stippled. Okay. Now it is pyramidal in the anteriors because of the contact point. The tissue rests just beneath the contact point. Whereas in the posteriors we have contact area. That is why there we don't have a pyramidal shape. There we have col, which is a valley-like depression. This valley-like depression connects the facial aspect of the interdental papilla and the lingual aspect or the palatal aspect of the interdental papilla. They both are connected. See, I can draw a rough diagram. This is the facial aspect of the interdental papilla. This is the palatal or lingual, let's say. And then there is this valley-like depression. This valley-like structure is called col. This interconnecting tissue, this tissue connecting the facial aspect of the papilla and the lingual aspect of the papilla is called col. This is present in the posteriors because posteriors have contact area and anteriors have contact point. That is why they have a pyramidal shaped interdental papilla or interdental gingiva. Clear till now? Okay. Now till here free, attached and interdental gingiva. These three anatomical structures of gingiva are clear. Now moving on to the fourth and final entity, gingival sulcus. Sulcus is a V-shaped shallow crevice or space created by soft tissue wall of the free gingiva and the hard tissue wall, that is tooth surface. Okay, they both meet to form the base of the sulcus. Here it is sulcus because it's healthy. If it was a pathology, we would have termed it as pocket. Okay, but here it is the base of the sulcus. Now this sulcus can be probed. I mean this soft tissue wall of the sulcus can be separated from the tooth surface, obviously because it is free gingiva. It is contributed by free gingiva. So obviously it is separable, but in ideal conditions or in pristine conditions it's not easy to separate it. Okay, because there is hardly any probing depth in such cases. But usually in an otherwise healthy gingiva or where there is a subclinical infection existing, this sulcus lining epithelium can be separated from the tooth surface with a periodontal probe, and that measurement is called probing depth. Now probing depth are of two types, histologic and clinical. What we do is clinical, but the ideal one is histological, which is obviously not possible or feasible in all the cases. What we do is clinical. But the ideal one is histological, which is usually 1.8 mm, the range of 0 to 6 mm. Okay. See, all these things are given in Carranza. I have referred Carranza 13th edition and prepared the study notes. The download link is available in the description box below. You may read it from my notes. Alternatively, interested people can refer Carranza 13th edition. Okay. So histological probing depth is 1.8 mm, the range is 0 to 6 mm, whereas clinical probing depth is full of errors, obviously human errors and instrument errors such as force, the inclination, the direction of probing, the inflammatory status of the gingiva, etc. Okay. So this clinical probing depth, usually unreliable, is 2 to 3 mm in a otherwise healthy state. That is why up to 3 mm we call it sulcus. Anything above 3 mm due to the apical migration, deepening of the sulcus due to apical migration, okay, of this base of the sulcus, which is then called base of the pocket, is called periodontal pocket, which is a pathology. Healthy sulcus depth is in the range of up to 3 mm. Anything above 3 mm is a pocket. Clear? So this is all about gingiva. The various queries in and around gingiva are thereby, I hope, hopefully resolved. But if there are any further queries regarding this topic, or even if there are any other topics you have doubts with, do let me know in the comment section below or onto my email ID dentalstudiessimplified@gmail.com. You can reach me on Instagram DM and Facebook Messenger. I will try to resolve all of your queries. Okay. Thank you for watching and listening to me. Study well. Have a good day. Stay safe.